May 5th, 2023 is the 25th anniversary of the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center. It's a staple in the Great Falls community and a top destination for travelers, history lovers, scholars, and school groups. We're looking back on the creation of this facility and its significance today. The drive to the Interpretive Center is beautiful, yet unassuming. The building, nestled on the banks of the Missouri River, blending into the nature that surrounds it, an intentional move by those who founded it.
We really don't want it to stand out like a sore thumb on a horizontal plane.
The colors of the building selected to meld with the changing seasons. Intentionality also reflected in the plants and landscape surrounding the building.
It came out here before any hole was dug for a foundation, and we took seeds from the existing plants here and sent them to a nursery where they were grown as shrubs for 2 years.
Thoroughness and attention to detail were part of the plan in making the dream of the Interpretive Center a reality.
I'm Jane Weber, and I worked for the Forest Service on the Lewis and Clark National Forest at that time. Now it's the Lewis and Clark and Helena National Forest. And I had the opportunity to be involved with the whole creation of the Interpretive Center and then 10 years of managing it. This is this community's idea, and in 1988 they passed legislation through Congress to establish this facility, the Lewis and Clark National Historic Trail Interpretive Center. Nobody knew what that was going to be, but they knew that they wanted a facility here, and the Forest Service was going to be the agency that would plan, build, and then manage it. And then we ran a huge public meeting, and the entire community came. I think there was at least 100 people at that meeting. And we discussed the whole gamut of what could this be. Everything from an IMAX theater to a small museum to a larger museum. And what could the themes be a little bit? We talked about that too. And we spoke about what the mission of this place would be.
That mission is to bring to life the daily experiences of the Corps of Discovery, inspire curiosity, and celebrate the human spirit. The mission is also why this is an interpretive center rather than a museum. What's the difference? Well, a museum is typically full of artifacts and has a barrier or glass between you and those artifacts. An interpretive center allows you to interact, touch, and feel. For example, you can get a good idea of what it would have been like for Sacagawea to haul around her baby on this trip, or you can get a whiff of what a water canteen would have smelled like. This facility is also unique among the 112 sites across the United States showcasing the journey.
You know, across the country we've got these different sites that focus on what occurred in that particular area in regards to the Corps of Discovery. And here at our center, we do certainly focus on the portage, the Great Portage. They were here longer than anywhere else, except when they wintered in North Dakota and out on the Pacific coast. But also we tell the entire story from beginning to end, traveling the entire country, as well as all of the American Indians and the natural history that they came in contact with as well.
Sharing all aspects and perspectives was very important to the center's founders. They brought together the so-called Gang of Four, specialists in their fields, contributing knowledge and lessons learned.
And I will tell you that we actually learned something very important from Herman Viola right from the get-go. Herman took the Columbus expedition from a Euro-American perspective, and that was not well received. Seeds of Change did not go over well, even though it was tied to the Smithsonian Institution. And he said, you can't do that. You have got to tell any story about this involving the Native American perspective. And of course, George Horse Capture guided us through that, as well as a local Native American gentleman, which many people know, James Parker Shield. We need to do this, and we need to identify and work with tribal members to relay that story of every tribe. Now, we couldn't do every single tribe in great detail, but we touched on every Native American tribe whose lands Lewis and Clark passed through on their way to the west when they were doing their mapping. And we had many tribal members who actually, when you look at the walls, the quotes on the walls were made by Native American people.
The exhibit hall, really everything that you look at on your right-hand side and interact with is going to deal with the American Indians they had contact with, and then all of the natural history as well. And then generally speaking, everything that you're interacting with on the left-hand side, that is dealing with the core discovery.
Visitors can explore all of it in a self-guided tour of the 25,000 square foot downstairs exhibition hall.
And it bends and weaves and winds all over and underneath of us, and it's following the Missouri River, just like Lewis and Clark and the core discovery did, until they come to those Rocky Mountains. And you will have the sensation of going up and over, and it cools down a little bit because you are going up and over, and it is a little cool back there in that part of the exhibit hall, but to give you that experience of what they're going through, and then you'll drop down into the Columbia River Basin again, and once again go out to the Pacific Ocean.
I always tell them the blue carpet is river, and then they get to be on dry land every once in a while.
Susan Watson works the front desk and does school tours. She's been volunteering at the Interpretive Center since 2001.
Well, I think by having the entire journey here, they get a much better idea of what the total experience was. I joke with them and I say, well, you're going to be walking 8,000 miles this afternoon. Do you have your walking shoes on? And they say, yep, we're ready.
She's one of 43 volunteers right now that interact with guests and answer questions.
Pronunciation of Sacagawea as against Sacagawea. They're interested in that. They want to know about the man that died on the way, and we always say that he was sick. He wasn't killed by a firearm of any kind.
Sometimes visitors are greeted by a four-legged volunteer.
Some days of the week we have a volunteer who has a Newfoundland dog, which is just like the one that Lewis would purchase back in 1803 to bring on the expedition. So the lucky visitors will get a greeting from, his name is Butler, not Seaman as Lewis's dog was named.
Dwayne says you'll want to budget a couple of hours to take everything in, including a showing of a special documentary by Ken Burns, made just for the Interpretive Center.
We seem to be becoming a destination point between Yellowstone and Glacier, and we're real happy about that. We try and make all of our guests feel comfortable.
There's an integration that happens with this story. You can teach math, you can teach science, you can teach history, and what were they doing? Journaling. So you can teach language arts anytime you come to this facility.
My hopes looking out for, that we reflect on the 25 that we've had, and they've been wonderful. And, we've been able to experiment with a number of different things, and just during my time, I know I mentioned I really liked working with youth, and the ability to, let them see history kind of come alive in front of them. I feel challenged to try and get people to break away from a screen and to be able to physically interact not only with the things that we have in the exhibit hall, to be able to walk along the river, to be able to smell the smells that are down there, all of those things that we can engage personally and immerse ourselves in. And as we look forward to the next 25 years, and I think of a lot of the young people and a lot of the patrons in general that come through here, we depend upon our screen time for so much of what we do. And I think it's a chance for people to maybe be surprised that, wow, I can break away from that for a moment, and I can really experience some things again.
The Interpretive Center will officially celebrate their 25th anniversary during the Lewis and Clark Festival, June 30th through July 2nd. You can hear more from Jane and Dwayne about 25 years of the Interpretive Center in a two-part series of our podcast called We're No Damn Experts. Those episodes are out and available now wherever you listen to podcasts or on our YouTube page. You can also find more information at visitgreatfallsmontana.org. For Great Falls, Montana Tourism, I'm Shannon Newth.